Hi there, I'm Brian Little and you're watching the Villa View, and it's a fantastic thing to do, so continue do it, and up the Villa lads, all the best.
Hello and welcome back to the Villa View for another video. Now today we're going to be discussing what went right at Aston Villa in the last season. We released a video where you can check out what we thought went wrong over the past season, but today it's all about what went right.
So we've managed to find 4 things that we think went right for Aston Villa in the 2016-17 season. The first one that we've highlighted is the interaction with the fans. We feel that has improved tenfold because, let's face it, the last regime was absolutely awful. So it's come on leaps and bounds. Now obviously we've got a chief exec and a chairman, owner, that engage with the fans on a regular basis. Obviously Dr. Tony on Twitter has been unbelievable all season. Every time you think we're about to sign a player, he just quashes that rumour straight away. You now know that unless you see anything from Dr. Tony on Twitter, it's probably not true. So that's great. And just in general, I think the whole culture of the fans and the club, I feel they're closer together in the season just gone than they have been for a long time. And I feel that once the club starts being successful on the pitch and you can marry the two together, I do think that we'll have something special on our hands at Villa again.
Yeah, I think that it's improved a lot. We've gone from a situation under Randy Lerner where literally you were playing a guessing game of what was actually going on in the club, and then the stuff you're finding out was from General Charles Krulak, which says a lot. But obviously since Dr. Tony's come in, both him and Keith Winers, both on Twitter, ABC support as well, been set up. I think that's an important thing as well, because in terms of fans, there was a lot of moaning last season about the way the tickets were organised and how you could go about issues when it comes to the club and getting in contact with people. But now that's so simple through Twitter. I think that's important with the interaction side of things as well. And Dr. Tony quashing all these rumours and then revealing exclusively when he really shouldn't do that players are signing him before nobody else even has a clue what's going on it's a nice thing to have, and it's rare in modern day football. They say that in modern day football owners aren't in touch with their fans, but I do honestly think that Keith Winers and Dr. Tony are both trying desperately hard, and Villanto as well. They're all trying desperately hard to marry the two together, as you touched on there, and make it more of an all-inclusive feel about the club, make it more of a family club than it has been in recent years.
Yeah, and that's the key. Villa has always been a family club. I think the good thing now is, I think if a supporter's got a query about anything, the likelihood is that the club are going to answer that query, even if it's not necessarily an easy question, if it's something difficult. The club do seem to get back to fans now. Fans seem to find out more than they've ever found out about Aston Villa in previous years. So that's only a good thing for me. So I think the club deserve a lot of credit, and we know from being in our position and doing what we're doing now how the club interacts with us, and they've been great with us all season. And obviously we like to think that we obviously form a part of the fan base, and the club's been great with us, so it's only positive going into the future.
Well, yeah, example being right here now, filming at Villa Park for this video. One of the other positive things for me that we discussed on is defensively.
Yeah,
we've been a lot more solid. I didn't imagine this place to become, you could argue, a fortress over the last year. You could argue that point.
Well, yeah, obviously that's going to be one of our points later, the home form. But as you say, the defence, we've got a core now. The back four that ended the season, obviously I've had my demons with Alan Hutton, and all is forgiven now. But him, Chester, Baker, Taylor, that's a solid Championship back line, and was a solid Championship back line towards the end of the season. And the defence has been a major problem over the last 3 or 4 years, arguably, especially in the season we went down, when you've got jokers like Jolly and Lescott stealing a living on that pitch every week, supposed Aston Villa fan, to have gone from watching him pretend to be a footballer every week to have gone to watching the blood and guts defending that I see from Nathan Baker, that I see from Neil Taylor, the Rolls Royce football I see from James Chester, and the sheer commitment in the second half of the season I've seen from Alan Hutton, to have gone from a real dark place defensively, where you can sometimes forgive things being bad and shipping goals if people are clearly putting in, but there was clearly people at Aston Villa the season before that were taking the mick. We've now got that back line that genuinely cares and puts the body on the line for Aston Villa every week, and it's great to see. We've got some good real fan favourites in that defence now, and a couple of additions to the defence to strengthen it from a squad point of view. I don't think necessarily we need to improve much in the first team. It's backup that needs to improve, because I don't think you're going to get in anyone better. They're certainly not going to get anyone better in than Chester and Baker for me defensively. I don't see us getting in better centre backs than them and getting a better pairing. So you've got to fill the squad out, but that core of Chester and Baker in the middle now. We get the goalkeeper right as well. Obviously, Johnston deserves a bit of credit towards the end of the season because he did keep a record number of clean sheets and he kept a lot of consecutive clean sheets. And whatever you think of him, and I haven't always been his greatest fan, he's involved in that, so you have to give him immense credit as well. The defence was a real plus point for Villa in the 2016-17 season.
I think it's been 10 times better than what we've seen in recent years, commitment-wise as well. I think that's an important factor.
Yeah.
I think it's worth mentioning Steve Bruce in this as well.
Oh, yeah.
And Roberto Di Matteo, we were conceding goals late. No shakes or bones about it. Huddersfield Town, the most memorable one of those, where I was gutted, but you could see it was coming a mile off. At the start of the season, we were going into games and I was like, oh, we're going to concede late on if we're 1-0 up. But second half of the season with Steve Bruce, we've looked a lot more solid. When it's come to those last 10 minutes of games where we may be looking to close it out 1-0, for example, which we have done on many occasions this season, we looked a lot better then.
The biggest compliment you can pay Bruce is that in previous years when we've sat back, and even under Di Matteo, as you say, we got found out. We'd always concede that late goal. You could see it coming, but although it's a dangerous game, and I know fans on fan cams touched on the fact that we were playing a really dangerous game with the way we were sitting back after going 1-0 up, but we did, for the most part, see the games out. So Bruce is obviously was an astute defender. You don't play for Man U for as long as he did, captain Man United, unless you're a good defender and you know something about defending. Obviously Colin Calderwood, assistant manager, is probably very good defensively coaching as well. And I presume Stephen Clements has had some input. It's the other side now for Villa that needs to change. That obviously we touched on in the what went wrong video. We're too reliant on Jonathan Codger, so we now need to find a balance, but he deserves credit for what he's done with the defence for sure.
Touched on it very briefly there. Home form, something that needed improving if to have stood any chance of doing anything this season.
Yeah.
A lot better, and only a few times we were dire and had to hang on in these 1-0 games that we did win, such as QPR, but overall, really sound at home.
Yeah, I wouldn't go as far as to say Villa Park was a fortress, because perhaps, if you've been a bit argumentative, maybe we didn't win as many games as we could. I think we drew quite a lot of home games, but Villa here, over recent years, it has not been an enjoyable place to come to, because you felt like you knew the script before you went to see the game, and we chucked away points. There was games where we didn't turn up. I'd say, other than maybe Barnsley at home, that we lost 3-1, we turned up for every game. I know we lost to Ipswich, we were perhaps a little bit unfortunate, and it was just that little blip in January, February. We lost two home games in a row. If it wasn't for those two games, we'd have been unbeaten. So the home form was excellent. I can say I enjoyed coming to Villa Park again this year, and that's progress, because I haven't enjoyed coming over the previous 3 or 4 seasons. So to come here again and see us win the majority of our games, or remain unbeaten in the majority of our games, that's pleasing, that's good to see. And again, it's something to carry on. It's something to build into the next season. So the home form had improved 10 times what it was in previous years. And you look at the place, and even just sitting here today, you're in awe, and this must be a great place to play football, but I imagine it can also be a tough place to play football, because the crowd are very demanding, and I do feel that strides were taken this year of the players getting a bit of a stronger mentality, getting a bit of a togetherness, and managing when things were going bad to ride it. I remember we had a dodgy first half against Bristol City, I think it was 0-0 at half time. We missed the penalty, then we came out in the second half, scored 2 early goals and killed the game, and you get the fans back on side. That's what you've got to do. You've got to be strong as a player. The fans aren't on your side, which sometimes they won't be. Here, when things are going wrong, they've got to sometimes be the ones to drag the fans over the line, and we did that on occasion, and vice versa. The fans sometimes drag the player over the line, so there's the makings of something promising at Villa Park again for me.
Final point, Dan, is transfers. We touched on yesterday some of the negative aspects of it, the amount we spent on some players that have really not delivered, but then equally, in a positive light, Jonathan Codger, people say we wasted money, ridiculously good season, beyond what I probably believed he could do. And then clearing out wise, the amount of dead wood we've actually managed to sort of shift on over the last course of the year has been quite impressive, considering the return as well. I wouldn't have paid a penny for some of them.
Well, if I had to give away a few, let's face it, Goose and Lescott were given away for peanuts. I was a bit apprehensive about putting this in, because although I think we've done some good business, I think there's been a slightly suspect side of things with Galini, Tishabola, obviously McCormack all spending time on loan. But Chester, 5 million I think we paid for him. That's a bargain. He's a Premier League defender. That's what we need more of. We need players that you can buy them, they'll be good in the Championship, but they won't be out of place in the Premier League for when we hopefully get promoted. We use that money wisely. Jedinak was a savvy signing. Codger, obviously you can't knock his record. People said it was expensive, and it was, but he's justified the price tag in the end. And we have had a massive turnover of players over the last 12 months, and it was needed. And I appreciate that life isn't like Football Manager. That probably isn't an easy task, so the club has to take credit for what they've done there, because it can't be easy to shift out players that, quite frankly, have been rubbish. Obviously, we got money back for Gusted, as you've said previously. We made our money back on him, which is no mean feat, because the guy was a statue for the most part of his Villa career. And it's only going to continue now. Contracts are going to expire, and now we just got to make sure that we continue to use the money wisely, because the money is there. Obviously, people have spoke about financial fair play and stuff. There is money there to spend. The 1 million stuff isn't true. We've got to be careful, because I think perhaps we have overspent, but we're now going to make sure we get the right kind of characters in. Lansbury and Hourahan, we got them on the cheap because of contracts. They were wise signings, players that were doing well in the Championship, proven at this level. So it's fair to have it in. Yeah,
I think that's a fair point you've made there. Conor Hourahan, for example, we got in there, I think, at the right time. I think if we'd have left it to now, the likes of Crystal Palace in the Premier League or those sort of sides
would have had him,
come calling.
Newly promoted.
Yeah, definitely. Same for Henry Lansbury as well. He's the sort of player that is on the edge of Premier League sides' radars probably before he joined Villa. So we've done good business there. And then arguably as well, selling Kieran Clark and letting Nathan Baker flourish as well is arguably a good bit of business as well. Despite how well Kieran Clark's done this season, I still do think that it was the right call to sell one, keep the other one and flourish, because Kieran Clark, could you argue, possibly a bit stale at Villa and needed that refresh. So good bit of business. I think it's about £5 million from we got.
Well, I don't think we had a choice. I think he had a clause. I think Di Matteo actually wanted him to stay, but for me, he needed to move to reignite his career, and he's done that.
So that is all for today on this video on what we feel Villa have done right this season. Do go over and check out what we said yesterday about what didn't go so well in the past year or so. If you enjoyed the video, then please do.
What kind of video?
If you have enjoyed this video, then please do drop us that like below, and also comment in what you thought about the past season, positively wise. And then, of course, subscribe to the Villa View, your post notification on.
If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.